Guys, Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make Romanian minimal house drum grooves. So I'm going to be giving away this project file and samples from this video for free away in... Hey. Hey. Hey guys. Hey. Hey guys. Hey guys, Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make Romanian minimal house drum grooves. So I'm going to be giving away the project file and samples from this video for free in the description. So make sure to check that out. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because you can download it for free without having to go through a download gate. And yeah, let's get started. So the first thing we have going on here is this 808 kick, which sounds like this. This is basically made by taking an 808 kick, particularly this one. And basically, I just brought it into a simpler here, and the first thing I did was I shaped the amplitude with an envelope. So you can see I kind of have the set like this, where I've got the decay down a bit, no sustain, and I'm basically just taking it from like this longer, more sort of like boomy kick into a like sort of shorter, more punchy kick like this. After the amplitude envelope, I added this pitch envelope. And what this is doing is it's basically giving you more of like a click at the start of the sound. If you listen to this original, you can hear it's got a click, but it's not that punchy. And if you turn this off and just have it like the original, you can hear it in the mix. It really doesn't cut through the same way as that does. So yeah, basically that's why I added this. So the way this is working is the pitch envelope is basically starting up very high at 28 semitones, higher than the original sample, and it's just quickly jumping down to the original pitch. And this, if you do this fast enough with using the envelope here and the decay and the sustain and all that, you can get this really quick, just like a click at the start of your sound. Like if you do too much, obviously that's a little weird. That's not really working. But if you do it very quickly, like I said, you just get that nice click at the start of your sound. So that was how I made that kick. The next thing we have here is this hi-hat, which is really simple. It's just playing on the upbeats. Basically, I just took this hi-hat, and then I pitched it down. You can see this is playing F sharp 2. The root note would be C. So then down here, yeah, it's just playing it a little bit lower. It just kind of gives it a more like rough around the edges kind of vibe, I guess. It makes it sound a little bit more lo-fi. And for this kind of stuff, that's kind of the texture you want. So the next thing that I have here is this bass, actually. And so the bass sounds like this. And the reason why I included this in here is because this is about making house or Romanian minimal house drum grooves. And I think a really important part of the groove, especially in these kind of tracks where they're so simple and just kind of straightforward, is the bass. Like the bass and the kick in particular, kind of like those two things playing off of each other is what really creates the groove with this style of music. And with a lot of house in general. So I wanted to include this in here, just kind of show you guys how to do like one of these kind of bass lines. So the way that I made this one is I'll show you the notes first. It's just playing the simple pattern where it's jumping around from F sharp to C sharp for that one note there. Just kind of a simple thing. It's just going up to the 5th, you know, pretty straightforward. And then it's just all about the 16th notes here. Like you can see, these are all kind of playing on 16th notes, and that's what gives it such a bouncy feel. Also, you can see none of these notes touch each other. I kind of shortened them very slightly at the ends there. Yeah, that's also very important because if they touch each other, you can see, like it's just not as groovy as this when they're just like short and kind of punchy like that. So then as far as the sound goes with this one, it's made really simply. Basically all I did was I just took operator. I have a sine wave here. You can hear it's, yeah, just a sine wave. And I've just shortened it a bit using this envelope and just kind of made it more of like a stab or like a little kind of, I guess you would want this to be kind of like a little like tom sound or something like that. And then the last thing that I did inside of here is I just added a pitch envelope at the start of the sound. Very similar to the kick. It just kind of makes it more punchy. When you have just like a sine wave and you want it to be like this punchy, sort of like bouncy bass like this, you kind of need this to make it like sort of cut through the beat, I feel like. Or cut through the mix. Like if I turn that off, it just kind of sounds like this sort of soft, weird bass tone. But when I have it, it really punches through a lot more, and it's percussive as well as melodic. That's the whole point of the bass line. So then the next thing that I have on here is the saturator. And what I've done with the saturator is I've turned up the drive a little bit, and I changed the color mode to sinoid fold here. So you can see, like, I turned the bass frequency up a little bit. Basically, that just gives it a little bit of a harder saturation as opposed to, like, analog clip, which is what is on by default. But the reason why I added this is because the bass needed a bit of texture. If you look at this spectrum here, this bass, when it's just coming out of operator, it's just playing that one harmonic. That's the fundamental harmonic. That's what a sine wave is, literally just the fundamental harmonic. And the thing about this is that it's very, very good on like a big club system or, you know, like on speakers, like studio monitors or headphones. But you can't really hear that on everything. And also, you kind of still want to be able to hear the bass on like those kind of systems because you would still only be feeling this if it was just that fundamental harmonic. So if you don't know, what saturation does, or what distortion in general does, is it literally just is adding harmonics on top of a sound. Like, that is what we're doing. That's why it sounds like distortion, is because the sound is becoming more complex and more harmonically rich because you're adding harmonics to it. And so, this is a great way to remedy this problem, because if we add a bit of saturation, we won't just have the fundamental harmonics. So, here's what it looks like and sounds like before the saturation. Like I said, it's really just sub, and you can see just that one harmonic. But then with the saturation, you can see all this stuff over here. So that makes it more like audible. Like, now you can not only feel it on those big systems, but hear it as well. And you would also probably be able to hear this like on an iPhone speaker or something like that. So it's kind of a nice way to just beef up your bass and make it sound a little better, and just take like a really simple sound like this and make it work a little bit better. Like, it's really, the reason why I spend so much time with that is because it's really like the small details like that are going to make you a better producer, or are going to make you like more able to make interesting sounds and make things that just work really well. Like, you just kind of have to know like little details like that. Like, this is a very simple groove, but you can see like these small details are really what makes it. Then the next thing that we have here is this little drum rack full of percussion, which sounds like this. So basically what this is, I just have these 4 little percussion sounds. And I've just put them in a drum rack here so I can have them all in one place. And then I just made this little pattern. And so this kind of percussion, very, very important for this style of music. Like with the Romanian minimal stuff, it's definitely very important to have these kind of like small, like sort of poppy, clicky percussion sounds. I mean, it's just such an important part of the sound. Like, I'll show you what the beat sounds like without it. It's very flat and kind of like boring, but when we add this, kind of helps bring it to life. And it's just like a really good way, like it's kind of like another one of those subtle details things where it's like the small stuff like this is what makes kind of simple music work really well and still sound kind of like sophisticated and still interesting and not just too simple and obvious. So definitely, you know, having percussion like this is very important. And of course, this style of percussion, very important for the sound, like just the way this kind of small percussion sounds. Like just any kind of tight, clicky type of sounds will work for this. Then the next thing that we have here are these 2 little zaps, which sound like this. So the way that I made these was using operator on both of them actually. So the first one is basically just a saw wave you can see here, and then I've got a pitch envelope on it. And the pitch envelope is just set like this. So as you can see, pitch envelope's very important for this style. But in the case of this sound, I just use it to give it the zap. That's how you make kind of like a zappy sound like this, like especially these little short ones. It's just having the pitch go really quickly down on like a saw wave or something like that. And this is still like taking longer to go down than it would for like a kick. Like if I was trying to make like a kick type sound or maybe give some punch to my bass, I'd probably have it more like this. Like you can hear with this, you can still hear the pitch that you're going for. But when you start turning that decay up, that's when you get like the zappy kind of sound. So that's kind of the difference there between that and then like how I was using it with the 808. But then on this next one here, what I have is basically a pretty similar sound. So this one is made with actually 2 sine waves, just doing a bit of FM inside of operator. You can see the second one has the coarse pitch at 2. And then with this one, I've used the pitch envelope. You can see it looks very similar to the one that was on the other zap, but this one's going up. So this one I have it at negative 100. The other one was at 100. So it's pitching down. And we put it at negative 100. There we go. You get that little like kind of pitching up sound. So, it's just kind of a nice contrast to how the first one is pitching down. These are sort of like, I almost like to think of these as like call and response. Like, it's sort of like you hear this first one and then you hear the second one right after. And yeah, it's kind of like a call and response type thing. So then the next and final thing that we have here is the clap / rim shot / snare, whatever you want to call it, but it sounds like this. The way that I made this was using 2 layers. We have this clap, and then I have this little rim shot thing, which was basically made by taking this rim shot, which is actually like a very nice one. It's very punchy. But I took that and I just put it in here, and then I added this really fast echo to it, which is just kind of set like this. You can see I have the ears, the left and right ear, set to time instead of being synced. So it's just kind of like doing that fast, sort of like metallic kind of echo. And this just kind of helps to obscure this a little bit more, and also it gives us a little bit more dimension. Like we have this one, which is very dry and kind of like clappy, and then this one has that metallic echo to it, so it's kind of just giving it more vibe and making them, they like complement each other very well. They're sort of opposites. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much it for this one. I just want to show you guys some techniques with like the whole Romanian minimal sound. You guys liked my last video about it, so I figured you guys would probably appreciate this one as well. So, yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. Make sure to let me know what you think of this video in the comments, and make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. You can get the project file and samples from this video for free, once again, in the description. So go check that out. You can also check out my social media in the description, and it's on the screen right now. Thank you again, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow with another tutorial.